And these three gods were bored. They were bored of seeing the same landscapes day in, day out, the same rocks, the same mountains, the same rivers, the same oceans. And so they decided to set off on a journey to discover a land they had never seen before. And suddenly they heard a sound in the trees above them, and they looked up, and there was a great big eagle. And the eagle with his beady eyes looked down on them and laughed. And the eagle jumped down to the ground beside the fire and said, "Ha! Fooled you." Now the next day, Idun, young princess, goddess Idun, goddess of youth, was in her orchard like she was every morning, and she was collecting golden apples. And these golden apples were no ordinary golden apples. These golden apples were the apples that kept the gods young. Every day she would take the apples to the gods, and every day they would feast, and not a single wrinkle upon their faces. And so she was picking her apples. What the cute. And suddenly, there was something behind a tree. There was a shadow. And she looked closely. And out from behind the tree came Loki. And Loki said, "Oh, Idun, thank goodness I have found you. Idun, I have seen the most amazing thing. I tell you, you're going to love this. I have seen a huge apple tree. And not just that, but this apple tree has golden apples just like yours. But Idun, these apples are as big as your basket, Idun. As big as your basket. Just imagine, Idun, if you took these huge golden apples to the gods. Imagine how grateful they would be, Idun. Imagine how much they would love you if you bought them these huge golden apples." And Idun said, "All right, take me there." And she picked up a basket, and off they went, hand in hand. And together they walked, leaving behind the land of the gods, leaving behind the lands of men. And finally they arrived at the flaming bridge. And there, hand in hand, they walked over the flaming bridge to the land of the giants, where of course the giants were waiting. And taking the nut in his beak, Loki began to soar over the flaming bridge to the land of the gods. And suddenly he heard a screech behind him. The giants had realised that their precious gift had disappeared, and they'd sent the great eagle after Loki. And together, in the sky, the falcon and the eagle began to race, neck to neck at one point, with the eagle snapping against the feathers of... He chanted the magic runes, and there stood Idun with her basket of golden apples, and she handed them out to the gods. And all was well. When Idun looked around for Loki, she wasn't done with him yet. Of course, he'd already disappeared, diving headfirst into the next bit of the trigger.